Hi guys, welcome to today's video. I'm Sarah. This is No BS Beauty. So I thought I'd talk about sunscreen scandal today. Anybody remembers the Purito one and the whole K-Beauty one from about, what was it, 5 years ago? Was it during the pandemic when this one started? I kind of think it was, but anyway, so we've got our own sunscreen scandal. This one's kind of stemming from Australia, but I wouldn't necessarily blame Australia for this one, because this one actually is going to involve a lot of brands, including some American brands. Obviously, this one's not an American brand, but or some American sunscreens such as Goop, Crave, sounds like. This is actually coming down to more, it sounds like, a research lab. And if you want to go back a little ways ago, there was a bigger lab problem. It was AMA Labs, and they were testing sunscreens. I think this was 2017. They were doing not real testing of sunscreens, and they eventually ended up getting fined $46 million. It was AMA, and they had a lot of American sunscreens in there, as well as Australian sunscreens as well. So there's an article that came out a few days ago. I think I put in my newsletter too, so check that out. But the Princeton Consumer Research Study. This is interesting because reality TV kind of blends in with skincare, which is like two of my favorite areas to talk about. So this Princeton Consumer Research Lab, there was a former employee, Brian Ecclefeld, that quit their job over doubts about the accuracy and integrity of the SPF testing. So this is interesting. So relatively quickly after I started working at Princeton Consumer Research, I started to see some things which I questioned. And they said the risk for the Australian consumer in this case would be severe, the potential for sunburn. It's genuinely a health issue, which it is. That's why sunscreens are typically regulated as a drug and not a serum or a face mask or a cleanser, not as a cosmetic. So interestingly, the person here, Brian Ecclefeld, also worked at AMA Labs when this whole scandal there started. So okay, so the Therapeutic Goods Administration in Australia, which is their regulation, announced that they had significant concerns about the reliability of Princeton Consumer Research SPF testing. They found 16 of 20 popular sunscreens failed to meet the SPF claims on their labels. The most notable one that kind of started this whole thing was Ultraviolet and their lean screen, but now it's spiraled into Naked Sundays. Medicate has a sunscreen there. Crave Beauty, Supergoop. A lot of sunscreens are implicated in this one now, and more probably that we don't even know about at this point. So at least 15 sunscreens sold in Australia have used PCR to test their SPF. And PCR is run by Barry Druitt and his former husband, Tony Barlow, who you'd be familiar with if you watched Below Deck Sailing Yacht. They were guests. They were weird. They were pretty rude. But they were guests on Below Deck. It's a reality show that follows a yacht crew around and has become kind of, I don't know, not reality anymore. But anyway, it used to be kind of an interesting show. I still occasionally watch it. But anyway, so they were guests on that show. So they run this test company, which I'll get this. There's a crazy line in an email, and I'll get to that in a second. So anyway, so this Brian Eckfield that worked for them before joining Princeton Consumer Research, they had resigned from the AMA Labs in the U.S. over ethical concerns about fraudulating testing practices. So that's kind of interesting, the overlap there. It sounded like they left that lab thinking something sketchy is going on here, and they started at PCR in 2017. 11 months later, he resigned from Princeton Consumer Research after observing testing results and practices at their company. He sounded the alarm when the lab breached regulations by incorrectly incorporating European protocol and testing for a U.S. sunscreen in 2017. So he was hitting the alarm bells, something's not right here, ding, 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 whistleblower, I don't know, kind of sounds like it. And nothing really happened because that was 2017. This was even before the Korean sunscreen scandal happened. So that was interesting. So anyway, so there's an interesting take between an email on an incorrect testing method on a sunscreen, and Mr. Druitt, which is the founder of Princeton Consumer Research, has a chain of emails back and forth with a employee there, and he wrote, "I have no idea about SPF. Tony, can you interject?" Huh? You're running an SPF testing lab, and your comment is, "I have no idea about SPF." What the hell? Huh? I don't know if this was totally taken out of context. It doesn't sound like it. So it's very concerning. I have no idea about SPF. Although I will add, it sounds like they tested other things other than just sunscreen, but the sunscreen is kind of what we're talking about, an issue. So he interjected and was calling the other founder of it. Can you help? Because I don't know what I'm talking about here. Let's be honest. I don't even know what SPF stands for. Okay. Wow. Okay, so Mr. Eckfield said the tipping point came when he learned that one of Princeton Consumer's clients had received a water-resistant SPF of 41.2 from the lab when an SPF 30 product was being tested, and a product that had not been designed to be water-resistant. They said it's extremely unlikely a brand would create a water-resistant sunscreen somehow without knowing it. So lots of red flags here. And he raised his concerns to Dr. Barlow, and they said, "Don't worry about it. It's fine. No big deal. Nothing to see here. Keep going." So he actually now owns his own testing laboratory alongside a former Princeton research colleague, Jane Tervoon. And Jane Tervoon was a senior sales director at Princeton Consumer Research for 5 years, also resigned over the concerns about the company's testing practices. So this is interesting. So Ms. Tervoon said she was asked by a senior manager to reveal information about which test subjects were receiving the client's product and which were receiving the placebo in a double-blind study for a tooth whitening product. Double-blind means there's two layers of people that don't know what the testing product is and what the placebo is. If you tell the second layer what the product is, it's not a double-blind study anymore. Okay, that's a red flag even to me, and I don't have a master's or PhD in testing methods or anything like that. So so the person confirmed that the person asking for that information was Mr. Druitt again, so which was the study evaluator. Red flag. So which one's the one we're actually testing, which one's not? Because the one that we're testing, I'm going to give good results to. The one that's a placebo, what's the point of even doing these? Who cares? Let's just, hey, you paid us $50,000 for testing. It's great. Sell it, So Jane says, when I received that message from Dr. Druitt, I started to feel sick to my stomach because I knew that wasn't ethical. It's not a double-blind study anymore. If you tell the people, So they said, experts told this media company that unblinding a double-blind study without informing the sponsor constitutes a serious breach of good clinical practice, obviously. So Jane resigned. So this media publication tried to contact Dr. Druitt or Mr. Barrett and Dr. Barlow. Neither of them responded. They declined to offer. A spokesperson for Princeton Consumer Research says it categorically denies any allegation of unethical breach of protocol, which at this point, now we know how Ultraviolet Sunscreen came back with a 4, and the founders of Ultraviolet were shocked. They probably didn't really even know this was happening. I have a feeling they probably actually thought their sunscreen was good. I have a feeling they probably actually believed it. So pretty disappointing all the way around. So they go on to say that consumers should be very concerned. It sounds like this testing site was testing a lot of sunscreens, Australian-based, US-based, other countries perhaps, and coming back with one that's water-resistant. This one has an SPF of 5,000. Hey, do you want to pay me $100,000 for that testing? Thanks. I mean, I should just open up my own research study. What do you want? Oh, you want that to say it has an SPF of 5 million? Okay, that'll be $1,000, sir. Actually, it'll probably be more. If you want me to say it's 5 million, then I want like $1 million. If I give it an SPF of like 100,000, that'll be like 100,000 bucks. I don't know. Anyway, So, and interestingly, a lot of the sunscreens came back with identical SPFs, which they also say it's such a rare occurrence. You should buy a lottery ticket immediately if you get those results. We know that's not possible based on my own experience of testing for 25 years. You're seeing a level of extraordinary success that just doesn't happen for high SPF products. I would say that Australian consumers should be very concerned. The Therapeutic Goods continues to investigate the choice results. If you haven't stayed on tune of it, an Australia consumer goods testing company, kind of, I would be like the American version of like Consumer Reports, maybe, came and tested randomly all these sunscreens, and they came back at, SPF of 4 when it says 50, or 16 when it's 30, or, so anyway, so this third-party company came in and tested them and found that they were all not what they said they were. And I'm going to give some of these consumers, manufacturers, companies the benefit of the doubt that they didn't know, but Crave Beauty also used Princeton consumer research to test their sunscreen. And how do you get wrapped up in 2 different sunscreen scandals without trying? That's pretty impressive. So I do give these companies the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they didn't know. We'll find out more later. Or maybe they knew, hey, this is the research lab to go to that's just going to green light your product, and just pay them a little bit and you're good. That could be too. I have a feeling it might be a little bit more insidious like that, but we don't know. We're not going to blame anyone until we know more. But yeah, so it continues to go on, and I'm a little bit discouraged by the lack of publicity this is getting, maybe lack of videos this is getting, lack of attention this is getting. I think this needs to be blown up more, I guess. When the Korean sunscreen scandal happened, that was talked about a lot. And this one has seemingly flown under the radar. Maybe it's because people in the U.S. or around the world just think this is centered in Australia, don't worry about it. But it's not looking like that is the case, especially when you have a U.S.-based brand supergroup that might be in on this testing lab too. So I think this is a global issue for anybody that uses sunscreen for any reason, especially for those people that are trying to prevent skin cancer, have a personal history of skin cancer or family history of skin cancer. There's a lot of red flags. So if you found this video helpful, share it. Let everyone know, hey, if you're using sunscreens, do some due diligence on it, and really check and stay on top of the issue, because I think there's more to come with this one, and probably more brands to be implicated in the future. So anyway, leave your thoughts below. Thanks so much, and I will see you guys more tomorrow. Okay, bye guys.